Good evening. I call to order this meeting of the Gladstone City Council for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. It's about 6:33 p.m. The City of Gladstone is abiding by guidelines set forth in House Bill 2560, which requires the governing body of the public body, to the extent reasonably possible, to make all meetings accessible remotely through technological means and provide opportunity for members of the general public to remotely submit oral and written testimony during meetings to the extent in-person oral and written testimony is allowed. Therefore, this meeting will be open to the public both in person and virtually using the Zoom platform. The Zoom instructions are on the agenda to the meeting. If members of the public would like to comment on an agenda item, either virtually or in person, you were to have emailed your comments or your request to speak to the city recorder prior to noon today. Individuals attending in person may submit a speaker card to the city recorder prior to the beginning of the meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The City Council will also have Gladstone City event announcements during the meeting and business from the audience at the end of the meeting. To speak during either time, virtually or in person, again, you are to email the city recorder prior to noon and with your name, topic of discussion, and city of residence. Individuals attending in person may submit a speaker card to the city recorder. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Councillor Huckabee.
Present.
Councillor Mitchell.
Present.
Councillor Blaug.
Here.
Councillor Levante. Councillor Corbett.
Here.
Councillor Garlington.
Here.
Mayor Milch.
Present. And let the record show, because we're meeting on a Wednesday night, which is the same night as the Gladstone School Board meeting, Councillor Levante, who is also School Board Director Levante, is attending that meeting tonight. And he will get caught up because these meetings are recorded. Let's stand for the flag salute, please. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Administrator Betts, do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda as printed?
We do not, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Well, we will begin as usual with our consent agenda, which tonight will include approval of the October 14, 2025 regular minutes, approval of September bank balances, the budget report for the period ending September 30, 2025, approval of September check register, legal costs for August and September, department head monthly reports for October 25, which I always commend to you. Great reading to learn about what's going on in our fire department, our police department, our community center, and all the other planning, all the other departments in our city. We get very good comprehensive reports, and the amount of work that goes on in creative programming and volunteer involvement is really impressive. And then the last item on our consent agenda is approval of an intergovernmental agreement, IGA, for judicial services between the cities of Lake Oswego, Oregon City, Gladstone, and St. Helens, and Amy Lindgren as the city's municipal judge. Are there any items on the consent agenda that a councilor would like to pull from that agenda? I don't see any indication of that. Will someone make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Seconded.
All right. It is moved by Councillor Huckabee and seconded by, was it you, Councillor Blaug? Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Councillor Garlington.
Yes.
Councillor Corbett.
Yes.
Councillor Blaug.
Yes.
Councillor Mitchell.
Yes.
Councillor Huckabee.
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the consent agenda is approved. I don't believe we have any correspondence. Has anyone requested to speak for Gladstone City event announcements?
I have not received any requests.
Okay. We'll move to our regular agenda, which tonight includes 3 primary items. One is to approve a contract between the University of Oregon's Sustainable Cities Program and the City of Gladstone for key economic development projects. Item 10 is award a contract for the 2025 Cured in Place Pipe CIPP Gladstone Sewer Project. And number 11, Resolution 1252, a resolution of the City of Gladstone updating its public contracting rules and repealing Resolution 1156. So we begin with item number 9, a contract regarding between the University of Oregon Sustainable Cities Program. Staff, will you present for us, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, City Council. As you know, we're focusing heavily on economic development and specifically in the Portland Avenue area where our new Gladstone Town Center, urban renewal expansion, and the downtown revitalization plan is focused. So we have a new partnership with John Lagarza, who's with HSC, and he is helping us support a broad range of urban renewal and economic development initiatives. Those include storefront, wayfinding improvements, street upgrades along Portland Avenue, redevelopment planning for the former library site, and the formation of an economic development commission, which we will talk about at your December meeting. So as part of this effort, Mr. Lagarza and I met with Megan Banks from the University of Oregon Sustainable Cities Institute. This connects university expertise and graduate level students' talent with local communities to help advance our shared goals. In Gladstone, I'm particularly interested in engaging the graduate architect students to help create conceptual renderings for a proposed Main Street facade improvement program. We have with us tonight Megan Banks and John Lagarza, and I know Megan has a brief presentation that she'd like to provide you on the program, so I think we'll go ahead and do that PowerPoint next.
All right, welcome, Megan. We can see you on our screen. If you can share your screen or do it through Tammy, however it works, we're glad to hear that.
Yeah, let me try that again. Wow. Oh, let me, sorry. You'd think I'd never given a PowerPoint before. Let's see here. I may need to, worried if I log out of Zoom, but let me try. I'm still screen sharing. There's my, I think I have just a few too many things open. But I'm curious if you can see this PowerPoint yet.
Yes.
I can bring it up on the screen if it's easier for you.
I'm curious.
You've got it. Okay.
Okay. Is it now 10 p.m. and the meeting's over? All right. Thank you for your patience, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to present tonight. I'm Megan Banks. I direct the Sustainable City Year program here at the University of Oregon. And I'm going to give you a general overview of the program, and then I'd like to talk about some specific projects that we have done in the past that are relevant to Gladstone's interests. And I'd say, John, Jackie, feel free to jump in if there's anything that I miss that you feel is pertinent to add. All right, so we know that the world needs research and ideas and solutions that come out of this research. So leveraging the role of universities for the benefit of society is critically important. We also know that local government is where things happen on the ground. And because there is so much that needs to get done at the local government level, we know it's difficult to stay current with new ideas, create political space to think about things a little differently, respond to everything that everybody needs within your city. So what we want to do through the Sustainable City Year program, or SCYP, is merge what's happening at the university level with the needs of a city. So how do we do this? We undertake year-long partnerships, and we strive to help communities solve today's problems while laying the groundwork at the same time for a sustainable future. All the while, we are creating the next generation workforce who are more equipped to work in local government, ideally. So where have we been and what have we done? So we have been in existence for 16 years. We've completed over 300 community projects. We've worked with a mix of rural and urban communities, and we've had more than 14 year-long partnerships. In addition to, we have done special projects periodically mostly for past partners. So where have we been? We have been all over the state, from Medford to Hermiston, in the Willamette Valley, east of the Cascades, as well as a fair number of projects in the Portland area. So what does this include? It typically includes a single partner for an entire academic year. However, we have noticed that because Oregon, of our 241 cities, I believe it's 183 of them are under 10,000 population. So we have pivoted a little bit to scaling the program to what's appropriate for a smaller community. We have done up to 27 projects for a community over an academic year, but that's not really appropriate for a smaller community. So some of these numbers you see reflect our larger partnerships, although we try to provide a range when we're talking. So could be 10 projects over the span of an academic year, could be more. So we have worked with 5 of our 7 schools and colleges across campus. And that is one unique aspect of our program, is we're not discipline specific. In fact, we really like to bring in as many disciplines as possible because of the unique skills and expertise that they bring. So these are some examples, from architecture to public relations. And another aspect of SCYP is we are not provincial at all. We thoroughly enjoy working with Portland State. They have engineering, U of O doesn't. We also collaborate with OSU periodically, mostly in their wood science and engineering programs. Any questions so far? Okay, I'll keep talking. Let's see. In summary, our intent is to provide capacity for communities. Over this academic year, we know that we can bring students in, they can support staff efforts, they can respond to city council priorities, city council goals. And we know that they bring creativity, they bring energy, they bring excitement, and they are beyond, it's hard to explain how excited they are that they get to affect change at the local government level while they're in school. This is really what students are pressing for now. They don't really want to wait until graduation. So if we can provide this through applied learning and experiential learning, it's a win-win. We also feel like society today, the challenges are greater than they've ever been before. And so we want to support communities and we want to support students to be able to address those changes or challenges. SCYP, we want to be a transformational model for higher education with experiential learning. And we would like to provide you with the best workforce you've ever seen, since they'll be working when we are long gone. So I will dive into some specific projects that have happened through the years. And again, I've highlighted this because there's relevance to Gladstone. So last year we worked in Bend, and we had community and regional planning graduate students address a 35-acre parcel in East Bend that has been identified for redevelopment, mixed use, and the students worked in small groups with these three themes that you see on the screen here. So what students did is they looked at demographics of the area, economics of the area, housing needs. As a mixed use development, they were planning to provide a certain density of housing. But really the intent was to provide flexible, community-centered designs. So as part of the project, as part of the term, they went to Bend, they met with city councilors and staff and toured the site. And they came up with a variety of recommendations for that area. That particular east side Bend area is a climate-friendly and equitable communities opportunity area. So they focused their plans on this mixed use where you had housing, employment, businesses and services within a short distance so that residents, workers, and visitors could choose among their mobility options. Whether or not that involved driving depended on the need that the user was coming to the site for. So they also focused on providing housing that was affordable for the local workforce, as well as access to proposed parks and public placemaking options. This year, our community and regional planning graduate students are working in downtown Tualatin. The next project I want to talk about is Gresham was our very first SCYP partner, and we recently went back to Gresham for 3 to 5 projects. The one we did last year was an architecture studio focused on a community center. It was their former city hall, and they wanted to create more of an inclusive community center. Gresham is extremely diverse in terms of its demographics. And they also wanted to connect with their large park. I think it's called, I can't remember the name, Main City, something along those lines. Anyway, so they wanted to create some connectivity with the indoor community center as well as the outdoor park. So students came up with a variety of recommendations. They ranged from youth-focused, food access, smaller neighborhood scale gathering areas that were outside to connect with the park, as well as some vulnerable populations that were identified where these people could feel safe, they could feel like they were supported, and they had privacy. And the graphics you see are graphics that students created if it looks like it's not a photo of students. Oh, look, a photo of students. The next project I wanted to talk about was the Sisters Elementary School Adaptive Reuse. I don't know if anyone has driven through Sisters recently, but you can see that there's a big roundabout where part of their school fields used to be. So they passed a bond to build a new elementary school. And so they were trying to figure out how to deal with this really prominent site that is the first thing you see when you enter Sisters traveling west. So this was a project that was collaborative between the city, the school district, and the Parks and Rec district, because they all had a stake in what was going to happen once the students moved out. So the intent was to preserve the school, but again, Sisters has challenged their median home price at the time we did this 3 years ago was $850,000. So the school district was losing potential employees because they couldn't afford housing. So the intent was to create workforce housing as well as support the need for community recreation. And in order to support this workforce housing, density needed to be increased. Okay, I am rolling through these pretty quickly. I hope that's okay. We have a partnership, a 2-year partnership with the city of Oak Ridge in East Lane County. And Oak Ridge has no multi-family housing. Their They haven't built multifamily housing in the past. I want to say the statistic is 20 years. Their code doesn't necessarily allow for it. So with a recommendation to amend their code to allow middle housing was an architecture studio who used the new code requirements and placed middle housing proposals that were neighborhood appropriate, contextually appropriate for Oak Ridge. So because this location is relatively close to the U of O, students took multiple site visits. They decided which site. They had a choice of 3 they were going to work on. And they met with city staff, they met with realtors, they met with council, and they met with stakeholders about what might be appropriate for Oak Ridge. So things like blending the new designs into the existing urban fabric, keeping cohesive architectural design that included privacy, fostered community, and focused on sustainability, daylighting, and walkability. So because Oak Ridge is so small, walkability is easier to achieve than some of the larger areas throughout Wayne County. Another project we did in Oak Ridge was through our business students. Oak Ridge has an industrial park. They have owned that industrial park since the mid-1980s and have recently put a lot of focus on recruiting potential businesses. So they worked with our students to look at the existing state of the OIP. Students conducted primary and secondary research. Through the term, they identified potential companies, whether those are industrial or retail, to target. And they created a pitch for recruitment for those industries. So here's kind of an example of some of their outreach materials. They actually identified 6 specific companies for the OIP to target. Some of those were Oregon-specific companies. They developed a scoring system so they could rank these companies, knowing that they needed to make it adaptable to future changes so that the city, after the students leave, would have the ability to update that scoring system. And they developed a pitch deck and a strategic marketing plan. So I don't think we have to worry about them putting John out of business, but they really did do a lot of work on behalf of the city and enabled the city to move forward more quickly. I'm going to take a breath. Thank you. The next project I wanted to talk about was our journalism students and public relations. When we partnered with the city of Salem 2 years ago, again, this was our first entire partnership that was a repeat year. We worked initially with Salem in 2010, 2011, so we had the opportunity to go back. And what we really appreciated about that opportunity is they valued the partnership enough to do it again. So we were quite excited to be back in Salem. So our public relations students took the recently adopted climate action plan that Salem had completed, and they took, staff recommended that they kind of take some of the low-hanging fruit so they could accomplish some actions and implementation from the plan, because there were over 100 identified things to be done. So one thing they did initially, they worked on 3 different projects, but the first project they did, first project they did was how to reduce idling within the city. And so they focused on actually city staff as kind of a role model for the rest of the community. So they came up with, all sorts of things. I'm going to look at my list here. They did a sticker these were ideas for the city to implement. So they did a sticker contest for students, infographics, they did sample media posts. They also, as part of the project, created a timeline for implementation of this campaign, as well as a budget. So I think what the students created will enable the city, if they choose to take this on, to, again, they don't have to start from scratch. They have all these materials that they can build from. And so not only has it helped the climate action planning, but it's also helped the communications team who is responsible for implementing the plan in terms of outreach for the community. Okay, we worked in Troutdale, our COVID partner. And again, these were more journalism, public relations students. Travel Troutdale was just getting off the ground in terms of their social media. So our students came up with the very first, I guess it'd be the inaugural video that was posted on the Travel Troutdale site. And so through that project, they came up with a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats kind of summary for what was needed for Travel Troutdale. And then they went and took advantage of beautiful weather and did their site visit and created a video that was then loaded on the site. It was called A Day in Troutdale. Okay, the final project I want to talk about is our collaboration between Oregon State and the University of Oregon. These students take their architectural expertise as well as their engineering expertise, and they work together to create an actual physical structure. In this case, it was a seasonal pavilion at a local park in Salem. And it's not just any sort of structure, it's what's referred to as a kit of parts. So they're trying to use sustainable materials that can be reused for one if they decide to take down the structure. And it's typically made of these parts that are put together very carefully. And as you can tell, I am not an architect. Anyway, the intent here is to respond to the needs of the community in terms of what they're looking for in terms of a structure that can be done. This year, OSU and U of O, the name of the class is called Timber Tectonics. They are putting together a facility that will be used at the new riverfront park that's yet to be developed in the city of Tualatin. Oh, I lied. We might have one or two more. On the bright side, I'm not going to talk about all 300s. So Gresham was considering closing their main street to cars. And so urban transportation students thought about how they might create a more walkable downtown and what type of programming would activate the space down there. So they recommended potentially either closing the whole street or one lane so that you would also have a lane for alternative transportation modes. They recommended hosting events on the street and parking lots to allow people to come and be part of the community in the downtown area. And they also recommended wayfinding signage to help people navigate downtown. Okay, that was the last slide. So the next steps. One thing we also do as part of SCYP is we respond to the projects that are identified and recommended by the city. We don't necessarily propose any unless it seems to align with what the city has already prioritized. So we take the city's list of projects and then we do our best on the university side to match those projects with those courses across campus. So we then connect city and faculty to talk about the relationship between what the city's outcomes want to be and what the learning objectives for the class are. So we ideally align those two entities, and we continue then to kind of get down on paper and document what we hope are the project objectives and potential outcomes. And we do this every term. In this case, we would start in advance of winter term, which starts in early January. And we're already having preliminary conversations, just kind of floating the idea. Depending on your decision tonight, we will be more active in our recruiting of faculty, but some faculty plan way ahead, some not as much, but just knowing that they might have this opportunity is helpful to get on some faculty's list before they select a different project. So once we know that we have a match between a project and a class, then we develop what's called a memorandum of collaboration. It's essentially a scope of work. And so we delineate responsibilities and be sure everyone is aligned on what the potential outcomes would be. And I believe that is it.
Megan, thank you very much. I have a daughter who's entering her a granddaughter entering her junior year in engineering at Portland State University. She would not be a part of this program. Let me make it clear, but I know firsthand the excitement and enthusiasm that comes from having an opportunity to use a discipline you've studied for real practical purposes. It's that age-old question you always hear from kids in school: when am I ever going to use this in real life? So from the perspective of the students, I can see this as an extremely valuable opportunity for them. And also, as you've demonstrated, it's proven to be of great value to the cities. Help me understand a little bit about the kinds of deliverables that come out of this. Obviously, they're not building housing or completing transportation routes. It's more idea generation and design generation. How does it go back to cities, and then how does it inspire people like John and our staff to kind of implement the ideas that come out that are generated by this interdisciplinary approach to city needs and city goals?
And I will say, first off, we work with Portland State Engineering, the civil and environmental capstone class, as often as we can, because they're doing a level of work which is extremely impressive. It's actually like a 30% design. So again, that even using that as an example, but you could take any of our disciplines, I think. And I'm going to quote like one of our past partners. We ideally are helping cities move farther, faster, because we're either providing them with material that they can use, that John could potentially use. I don't want to speak for John. If he was to make any sort of further, more professional work towards a particular project, it could be that the city is going to go out for an RFP. We have heard this in the past, where the work that the students did enabled the city to go out for an RFP for more advanced design than they would have if the students hadn't done anything. And again, so they like that because it saved them money. The actual deliverable that we provide is a written report. And so what it does is it synthesizes everything that was done in the class, and we provide that to the city electronically in a hard copy. And ideally, it is available at any time for the city to use. But potentially, there's momentum now if the students have gone through this 10 or 20 week process, that the city might decide, oh, this is a priority. We want to move forward on this based on these outcomes. But if not, then you always have access to these ideas and these recommendations through that report. And I will say there was one time our city partner was Albany. They had a historic hotel, and the city had thought about like redeveloping that historic hotel. And the business students found out that it financially did not pencil out. And so this is an example of the students being able to say, we would like to tell you through our research that this will not pencil out for you. However, you can move forward if you choose. So this was an example of recommending not going forward with the project. So that could also be an outcome.
Well, we have
I
some
hope I
things
answered your
going on.
question.
We have some things going on currently that are stimulating a lot of idea building in the community. And it's fun to see that. It's fun to get people imagining what could be here and to involve potentially hundreds of students in doing that on a larger scale, a broader scale, I think is preferable to just relying on individual property owners or entrepreneurs or something to kind of develop something. If we put ideas out there, somebody who thinks, gee, I've thought about doing that myself. Maybe now's the time to step in. And, it might really motivate local people or as you say, other developers or others to get involved. So let me open it up to questions from other council members. Anybody want to ask a question of Megan or have a comment about this? So, Administrator Betts, what action do we need tonight on this?
So tonight, what you are approving is a master agreement. And then from there, there will be up to 10 projects that John and I will work specifically with Megan on through that memorandum of collaboration. And I just want to be clear that we are looking for action and implementation projects. So for example, facade improvement for downtown Portland Avenue. If the architecture students work on projects and let's say they come up with 2 or 3 different designs, the Economic Development Commission that we are going to propose at the next meeting would be that group that would review them, possibly make a recommendation to the city council, the planning commission, so that we can then use urban renewal dollars and launch the facade improvement program. So I want to be clear that we're looking for tangible results for action that actually gets done down there. This is within my spending authority. I didn't have to put on the council agenda, but I believe I'm very excited about the opportunity. I wanted to share that with you, this partnership. John will be the lead working with the students, so I will let him add anything else if he wants to, John.
Thank you, City Manager Betts and Mayor and Council. Just happy to be here. And this is an exciting opportunity, I think, for Portland Avenue. Just what City Manager Betts talked about and what you, Mayor, talked about. Looking at what that vision is, what the architectural program, U of O's got a fantastic architectural program in business school to be able to bring those ideas. And we can take those ideas and implement those into a storefront program working with the future EDC. So I'm excited and the opportunity with young folks and innovation that they can bring forward for Portland Avenue. I think we're going to see some really great ideas come out and ways to move forward with that and wayfinding and placemaking along Portland. Everything that we want to do here in the city, and I'm just excited to be part of this and look forward to your support on this.
Thank you, John. Would a member of the council like to make a motion on this?
I had just one.
One question from Councilor Blaug.
Yeah, is there any plans for the students to hold any interactions with our community town halls to get feedback on designs, plans, just get a sense of what the community might like also?
Yes, and John and I will be working through the specific tasks, objectives, deliverables under each project. But yes.
Great, thank you.
So I have a couple of questions,
All right, Councilor Garlington has a couple questions.
a couple comments actually. So thank you for the clarification on implementing the plans. I appreciate that because we do have other plans in the city. We have a $50,000 plan down at Meldrum Bar and we've not been able to do anything with it. So, my first thought is why do we need another piece of paper in our coffers? But I understand that you've thought that through and I appreciate that. And that although the $40,000, is that what this is?
For the 10 projects.
Yes, I understand that. And I understand that is under a spending limit. What isn't, or what could potentially not be, is the cost of implementing a program like this. So it's important, I believe, that we talk about this from the very beginning and that it, gets put out there. I'm wondering when we talk about different things that we can do in this on our main street and things like that, it seems to me over the years that we've seen different plans. We've seen different renderings of what we wanted. We have a planning commission plan on, we were going to go, oh my gosh, putting on my thinking cap now, 3 stories. Were we going to go 3 stories? Or we're going to go 4 stories? Boy, it was a hours and hours discussion. It was lots and lots of meetings. We've had, downtown corridor meetings with business owners and or building owners on what kinds of things they'd like to see. So there's a lot of moving parts to what has already been talked about in downtown Gladstone. And I would hate to see that not be taken into account. I'll let you guys have that where that's at. When we talk about using urban renewal funds, I think it's also important that it not just be one building or another building, that although we can do a lot of different buildings, I think it's important that each building owner be able to hold on to their own, what's the word I'm looking for? Their building type, what they've got. They may not all want to just tear out the front of them and put, something up that matches the new library. They'd like to have some individualism. So I think that that's really important. So, but I guess my biggest point is that this is another plan and we have a lot of them. And I just want to make sure that whatever we're going to make a plan for, we have the money to do it, to carry through, and that we don't end up with a plan that's going to cost $1.4 billion. And we don't have that. So to keep what we have, it's kind of like, I guess I'm going to put it like this. I need to have my kitchen redone. I got $40,000. If you go over that, the plan's moot. So I want to make sure everybody keeps that in their mind on, what we have to spend at the end of the day. Thanks.
Thank you. Other comments? Questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
Make a comment, actually.
Oh.
I'm having a hard time tracking what you said, Councilor Garlington. So we are, this agreement is for $40,000. Any project recommendation, marketing plan that is presented to us, we get to choose what that looks like going forward, and what falls within our goals as a council. So I'm kind of confused where additional money to the 40,000 is coming in your comments, and I might not be tracking that perfectly. And then I didn't read in here that we are using urban growth boundary money. Is that true? I might have missed it.
Not for this agreement.
Right.
If the council decides on a facade improvement program in the future, we will use urban renewal funds to help offset those costs. That will be determined at a later date.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm understanding. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. More discussion, more questions? All right. I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make the motion. I move to approve the Sustainable City Year Program Agreement between the University of Oregon and City of Gladstone to advance specific economic development goals related to the redevelopment of Portland Avenue.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. It's been moved by Councilor Huckabee, seconded by Councilor Blaug. Any further discussion? Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Councilor Blau.
Yes.
Councilor Mitchell.
Yes.
Councilor Huckabee.
Yes.
Councilor Garlington.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Councilor Corbett.
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the motion passes 6-0. John and Megan, thank you both for coming here. We look forward to working with students and generating a lot of ideas that we can mull over and see how they fit into our long-term plans for this city. I hope that they will inspire us to be creative in the way that we achieve our goals and move forward from this. So we look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I make one comment that I neglected to add earlier?
Sure.
The timing of this is ideal from the city perspective. We are in the last year of our federal earmark. So the 40,000 that the city is putting in is actually matched from the university side. So when we're talking up to 10 projects, that's a value of $80,000. So well done on your timing, because next year there will not be a federal earmark as far as we know. So I just wanted to let you know that is actually happening this particular through June of 2026.
Well, let's hope that things will change and that this program will continue to draw support from other sources so that you continue to do this good work throughout our state. Thank you both. All right, the next item on our agenda is to consider awarding a contract to Iron Horse LLC. So our Public Works Director, Silas Richardson, is here tonight. Silas, could you present this for us, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Good to see you all. The agenda item I have to discuss is just that: consider awarding a contract to Iron Horse LLC in the amount of $237,441, adding $35,616.15 as a 15% contingency for a total of $273,057 to complete the 2025 CIPP Gladstone Sewer Project. As you know, the city is responsible to maintain our public infrastructure and to perform preventative maintenance work to prolong and ensure the integrity of our existing wastewater mainline pipes. This work is ongoing and was initiated after studies that analyzed and determined the wastewater mains have significant amounts of illicit infiltration from groundwater that negatively impacts flows, causing increase of capacity that may lead to overflows that may impact our customers' adjacent rivers and our treatment providers, West and Oak Lodge Water Services. The work within the East Basin builds on recent Gladstone I&I project improvements and is part of a Clackamas County countywide regional I&I reduction project that is eligible for 33% reimbursement from West. This contract represents phase 1 of 3 of a 2025-2027 3-year Gladstone East Basin CIPP repair project. The 2023 IGA between Gladstone and Oak Lodge Water Services identifies a number of wastewater repairs within the Oak Lodge Water Services Basin that are required to be completed by December 31st, 2027 per the IGA. This contract represents phase 2 of 4 of a 2024-2027 4-year Gladstone Oak Lodge Water Services Basin CIPP repair project. So the proposal, staff proposes the council approve the award of bid as stated in the contract. A copy of the contract and general conditions are attached herein. Exhibit A includes bid results from the city of Gladstone RFP process, and Exhibit B is the map of Gladstone roads that will have the wastewater main lines lined with the cured in place pipe. The public improvement contract with Iron Horse LLC is to perform cured in place pipe insertion within wastewater lines on the following streets within associated footages and sizes. Tammy, do we have the map? Got a couple maps just for a visual. So the first street is East Hereford Street. We're going to take care of 205 feet, a 15-inch CIPP liner. There it is. Thank you. So basically from Chicago Avenue heading towards Portland. And then on East Gloucester Street, 450 feet of 10-inch CIPP liner. On East Exeter Street, 1,380 feet of 8-inch CIPP liner. And then the next map will be the Oak Lodge component, which is Caldwell Road, as well as Collins Crest. That consists of 608 feet of 8-inch CIPP liner. CIPP work will meet all standards and provisions outlined by staff and engineer services prepared for the project. So the cost to complete the work is $237,441. Staff recommends adding the 15% contingency of $35,616.15 for the total amount not to exceed $273,057. Funding for this project will be allocated from the sanitary sewer budget. City funds spent will be eligible for reimbursement up to 33% with the regional I&I reimbursement program.
Well, the maps you showed us remind me a little bit of when we do the slurry seal projects and other street improvements that we do. You've indicated in your report this is a phased project. Phase one of one aspect of it. This is the second phase. We started this a year ago in another area. So people say, why aren't they doing my street? It's because we phase these in. But even the areas you show us appear to be on the map, very small segments. So give us an answer. Why aren't we doing the entire length of the pipe? Why do we select specific, what appear to be relatively short lengths of pipe to do this process?
It's all based on studies and TV inspection that they did within those pipes. So those segments rated out to be in the worst condition and dictate the need for the CIPP. There are other sections that could potentially use it, but we're starting with this, as you said, in the phase process, and they are recognized as needing it immediately because of the illicit infiltration in those areas is much greater than the rest of the pipe on the street.
So this is all based on the study we've done beginning back in 2020 of locating our worst inflow and infiltration areas, and then acting on the ones that will have the biggest impact because they're currently in the worst shape.
That is correct.
All right.
And as you recall, in 2019, we were mandated by DEQ to fix our infrastructure.
Exactly.
So, and then I also was able to share that DEQ has said we have fulfilled our obligations. So the investment and the work that we've been doing since 2019 is working. And so this is the next phase, like Silas said, for us to continue working on that. And it's important because we always get asked, where are we spending our dollars for the utility rates? And this is an example of the projects that we've been spending since 2019.
And the print on it is a little bit small for me to see, but can you share with us how much money did the city save by selecting this particular bid versus, let's say, the highest bid of those we received?
So the highest bid was $459,170.
So almost double
Yes.
this one. Okay. And as Administrator Betts has explained to me, we have an engineering firm that we contract with to review bids like this, to make sure that people who bid an amount that is lower than their competitors have studied the project and plan their work accordingly. They're not missing something. They're not leaving something out. They are just finding a way to do it at a more affordable cost to the city. And we generally reward them by accepting that bid.
Yes.
Questions or comments from council members? Councilor Huckabee.
Thank you. I apologize. I didn't ask this question to Jackie earlier, so if we don't have the answer tonight, that is absolutely fine. On page 10-2, in the second paragraph, it says that funding for this project will be allocated from the sanitary sewer budget. City funds spent will be eligible for reimbursement up to 33%. What is the deciding factor of that percentage?
So we have an intergovernmental agreement with WES, and that is the percentage that they stipulate that the city can get reimbursed for, 33% of any of our inflow and infiltration projects that qualify
Okay.
So the projects have to be pre-qualify with WES. That is their standard reimbursement in an agreement.
Thank you. Perfect.
Administrator Betts, does the fact that some of them are in the Oak Lodge basin affect our eligibility with Wes?
We do not get reimbursement for the projects that are being done in the Oak Lodge Basin.
Okay, so when we say up to, it's not up to 33% of the total, it's those that are that qualify.
Correct.
Okay. All right, other questions?
Did
Yes.
Did we need to comment on whether or not we lived on one of these streets?
No, I don't think so. This is something that really is there to benefit the city as a whole, and it's
Exactly.
similar to some of those others. I'm
I-
glad that we think in those directions. Gee, this is going to make the water flow better on my own street. But as Silas indicated, it's really benefits the whole city equally. So it's not that you, because you're on the council, or you, because you live on a certain street, are going to benefit more than anyone else. But thank you for your sensitivity to those conflict of interest kinds of questions. All right, any other questions or comments? Would someone like to make a motion on this particular item? Councillor Blaug.
Sure, I'll make a motion. I move to approve the public improvement contract to Iron Horse LLC in the amount not to exceed $273,057 to complete the 2025 sanitary sewer CIPP project.
All right, is there a second?
A second.
All right, it's been moved by Councillor Blaug and seconded by Councillor Corbett. Any further discussion? Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Corbett,
Yes.
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yes.
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Counselor Blaug,
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the motion passes 6-0. The contract is approved. Silas, thank you for your presentation tonight and your continued efforts on this. Just to clarify one more thing about what Jackie said, just because DEQ notified us that we, are making progress, we don't stop these projects. We're not done. This is an ongoing thing. But the fact that we have planned and structured a response is what really got us that good reply from them.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We move to item 11. I think that's right. Yes. Consider approval of resolution 1252, a resolution of the city of Gladstone updating its public contracting rules and repealing resolution 1156. And city attorney Chad Jacobs is here tonight, and he, along with our city administrator, will present this item to us.
Yeah, and I'll just do a quick introduction that the way we go about contracting and procuring services, we must follow state guidelines for that. So I'm glad that this is on after the contract we just approved. So what we're bringing forth to you tonight is in 2024, the public contracting rules were updated. In the staff report, you'll see the two areas that I highlighted. There were increased dollar thresholds. There were also expanded direct selection authority. Before I hand it over to Chad, what I wanted to make clear though is even though the dollar amount thresholds have been increased, contracts still have to come to council for approval if they're over $50,000. So we're not changing that authority to the city council. And so with that, Chad, your office did a great job of presenting and drafting these updates for us. So is there anything you'd like to highlight for council?
Yeah, I would just sort of reiterate two things that Jackie just mentioned. The first is that this is really about the process for awarding a contract. It's not about who approves the contract. And so who's approving the contract isn't changing at all. It's just the process that we use. And the second point is that the process that we're using and the updates that we're making are just updating that process to be consistent with state law. So the state law is amended and they change the dollar amounts in state law. Our office is recommending that all of our clients likewise update their local codes to be consistent with state law. So that's really all this is. To a certain extent, you could call this a housekeeping matter. It's a little bit more than that, but it's really not much more than that. And so with that, we would recommend that you adopt these changes to your local contracting rules. And if you have any questions, either Jackie or I would be happy to answer them.
So as you've indicated, this sort of changes how we do a selection, but the actual final approval is really the procedure we've always followed and still remains that.
Correct.
All right. Anyone else need any clarification on this? We look to our attorney to keep our code updated, and we appreciate your work on this. Your office has also always provided us with a very clear markup of the law so we can see where those precise changes are. All right. Would someone like to make a motion?
All right. I move to approve Resolution 1252, a resolution of the City of Gladstone updating its public contracting rules and repealing Resolution 1156.
All right. It's been moved by Councillor Corbett. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. I think Councillor Garlington beat you to the punch, but Councillor Garlington seconded the motion along with Councillor Mitchell. Any further discussion? Tammy, you may call the roll.
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Counselor Blaug,
Yes.
Counselor Corbett,
Yes.
Counselor Garlington,
Yes.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the motion passes 6-0. The resolution is approved. Okay, we, under our business carried forward item on the agenda, we've asked our city administrator to provide us an update on the training sessions from the International City Managers Association, ICMA conference that she recently attended. So Administrator Betts.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. City Council, thank you for supporting my professional development. I have to tell you, I think in the 25 years I've been part of this association, this was one of the best conferences. In the past, they've really focused on public safety and law enforcement, and this one was really about enhancing smaller communities. So I'm going to kind of do a rapid fire, and I'm just going to tell you some of the classes that I attended, but there's one class that I want to go through some actual takeaways. So I went to a class, Building Trust and Enhancing Citizen Engagement in Smaller Communities, 13 Ways to Kill Your Community, which is the one that I want to come back to and give you the actually 13 ways. Love Your Enemies, How Decent People Can Save America. Horror, healing, and the heavy stuff in between, responding to a mass casualty event, the evolving nature of public comment, finding and keeping your passion for public service. The best collaboration session I went to was when a city bought a blighted trailer park and partnered with a school district in Kansas that had a trade school of construction students that built tiny homes. It was by far an incredible collaboration. And it was just really good to see the school district and the city coming together for affordable housing. From maddening moments to mindful managing, navigating stress, and building resilience. The best post-disaster resilience session that I went to was they had a delegation from Ukraine, the city of Lviv, that did a presentation. You know, a lot of times we focus on Florida has hurricanes, there's tornadoes in the Midwest, but hearing from Ukraine come and talk about how they rebuilt their businesses after drones were bombing in their city was pretty incredible. And the work that they have done there was by far, there was not a dry eye in the room through that session. So that one was just really great to go to. Third places, I don't know if a lot of you know about this, but your first place is home, your second place is work, and third places are libraries, community centers, parks, churches, bars, bookstores, pickleball courts, community gardens. So having those human connections in Gladstone and focusing on enhancing those, I think, is really point of where we're trying to move right now. It reduces isolation. Loving where you live. And then also just talking about some simple things that we can do, whether it's art. When it rains, it only appears on the sidewalks. Those are some takeaways. There's power in a coat of paint on a business, murals. So I felt like we were headed in the right direction in Gladstone, what we were focusing on. But real quickly, I wanted to give you the 13 ways to kill your community. So remember, when I say this is if you want to kill your community, you must do this. The first one is to forget the water quality. The second one is don't try to attract businesses. Number 3 is don't engage your youth. Number 4 is ignore your strengths. Embrace your own identity and build on what makes us special was my takeaway from that way. Shop elsewhere. Don't paint. Don't cooperate with others. Live in the past. Shut out your seniors. Reject everything new. Ignore outsiders. Grow complacent, and don't take responsibility. So if you look at that, we're actually doing the opposite in a lot of ways. So I don't feel like we're headed to kill our community. In fact, I think we're headed in the opposite direction of where we're enhancing our community. I took a lot of notes, presentations, so if any of you individually are interested in talking more about that, I'd be happy to. But it was refreshing my soul and reminds me why I work in local government, because that is where the real action happens and the results that we see get done here. So thank you for that.
And I noticed if you go on the website for the ICMA, you can find some summaries of some of the keynote speakers and other things and links to articles that will give you a little bit more of this information. So we can all benefit from what all these collected. And how many come to? You're up in the thousands of attendance. Family members come too. You meet in good places, or is it really that many city administrators who gather for a convention?
They're city administrators, assistant city managers, and the next generation. But there was 5,000 at this conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when we go to conferences in the hundreds, imagine having 10 times as many people there.
Yeah.
I'd get lost. I know I'd get lost.
Well, thank you for that. Let's see. Business from the audience. Did we have anyone who requested tonight?
I have
Tammy?
not received any requests.
All right. So it's time for business from the council. I'll start at my left this time with Councilor Garlington and move this direction. So, councilors.
Okay, busy month. I thought we would slow down and I'd have time for everything I wanted to do for the holidays and haven't even started. So I wanted to give out a shout out to the Gladstone pickleball community who raised an enormous amount of funds for our food bank. What great people they are. What an addition to our community. I'm so glad they came. I'm so glad they persevered and are making our community really look good by the works that they do. So I just want to give them a huge shout out. I attended the election party on the 4th with the Clackamas Fire Group. They were an enthusiastic group of people. They were really excited about the night, and they were taking a poll on how big did they think would we pass and how much would we pass, and a lot of people kept saying, 12%, 14%, and I said, I'm giving it 20 plus. I believe in Gladstone, and I said to them when they were them, I was right. Gladstone came through. So thank you, Gladstone voters. I believe with my whole heart and soul that your vote was the right vote. If there was anything that I questioned when I started at this job 5 years ago, it was, where is this fire service going to go? Because our seniors and our kids and our people deserve the best care when in need. And I think at this point right now, we are getting it. And I thank everyone for getting that started. Administrator Betts, all of your work with Clackamas Fire in making them believe in us and coming to us. I just can't thank you enough. I just know we're in the right place. I really do. Went to the state of the county with a couple of other counselors. I will have to say one of the big takeaways was board member West saying that the group that he was working with right now was just a solid group of people. They had a purpose, they had a vision, they have a vision, they know where they're going. They just are so collaborative right now. I just can't wait to see what they do in the next few years. There's just so many great projects that they talked about that hopefully we'll see really come to fruition and make our county just a little bit better place for everybody to be. So I went to the library board meeting. Councilor Mitchell could not attend, but I went to that. So, and I also went to the grand opening of the library, as did some of the rest of you. And wow, there was a lot of people and so much fun and so many kids and elected officials and people who had been striving for the second library to open for so long. And it is a great facility if you haven't been down there. If you're, the play area is fun and you can just borrow a child, go down there and you can swing on the swings. It's a great playground. And the library it really does remind me a little bit of ours. The inside, they do kind of marry each other a little bit. So that's a lot of fun. I went to the C4 dinner with our mayor, and that was those people in Canby what a great presentation. They're just really getting it done. And they have they just have a clear vision about where they're going and what they're doing. And they have a long range plan, and there's so many people behind it. And that's what's really great about there. But I just want to say, I'm always impressed, Mayor Milch, with the work that C4 does, and you are a big part of that. And there's so many people that always tell me, your mayor comes and he is so knowledgeable. And when he speaks, you just listen because what he's saying is absolutely truthful and you've done your homework. So people appreciate that. And I appreciate hearing that. Really, I do. Thank you to our veterans. And I hope that all veterans had a good day, maybe found a free ice cream cone or a free cup of coffee somewhere because you deserve it. I'm doing a tour. Oh, I did the tour at West with Gabby, and that was a lot of fun. I love the fact that there was just a couple of us. And then tomorrow we went, one of our tour persons was Heidi from PGE. And so you got to do it that week.
It's amazing.
Okay, well, I'm going tomorrow morning. So I'm doing that tour tomorrow morning in Tualatin. So I'm really excited about that. I'm sure I'm forgetting something else, but I just want everybody to have a very happy and safe Thanksgiving as well.
Councilor Corbett.
I don't have quite the list that you had, but I just, like you said, as a veteran, I want to definitely thank all the veterans within our community that for their service, but more importantly for their sacrifice. It takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice to serve your country. So thank you. And to your point, I did have a free meal, and I'm not making a plug for this, but Olive Garden provided me with a free meal this year. So that was fun. I know the Elks are having their big dinner, so they do an annual dinner also. So I'll give them a plug. I've been there last year and I will probably go again next year, but it was a great experience. And then, like you said, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I think it's a great time to be around family and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you. Councilor Blau.
Well, let's see. So I did the tour. It was really interesting to actually see the wastewater treatment and what happens. It kind of ties in with some of the stuff that we're working on here, and you can kind of see all of the things that end up in the outflow from our city. Lots of things that shouldn't be flushed down the toilet ends up over there. And then PGE was amazing. It was like something out of a movie. They do the most amazing job.
keeping all of the electric lights on and, and all of the maintenance and everything it was so impressive. Let's see what else. The Metro Future Vision Committee meets tomorrow. And so we should have some more updates on that the next time I'm here. We are working on the sort of preliminary guidelines for how we're going to do the reports. And yeah, that's basically it.
Counselor Mitchell.
November is Native American Heritage Month. The Gladstone Library has a small display of books at the back of the library overlooking the back, I guess, what do you call it? The back
courtyard?
Back courtyard, thank you. Courtyard area. So you can look at those books and look about the history and the heritage. Also, the Gladstone and Oak Lodge libraries are participating in the drive Fill a Stocking, Fill a Heart, and they are not the only locations participating in this drive. How you can participate is you go to the library, you pick up a stocking, you fill it with goodies and essential items, for example, stuffed animal or toothpaste, items such as those, and you bring the stocking back to the library. December 1st is the deadline, and these stockings go to agencies in Clackamas County. Fill a Stocking, Fill a Heart is a nonprofit organization. Agencies in Clackamas County that the stockings go to, such as Pear Creek Child and Family Services, Clackamas Health Services, Father's Heart, Milwaukee Senior Center, Fort Kennedy, and different locations such as those will benefit with these stockings. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Huckabee.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a whole bunch tonight. Councillor Blaug and I are still attending the Leaders for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Council at the county level. Our last meeting, I was voted in as chair of that council now, so that's exciting. We are kind of looking at possibly doing a name change and focusing on updating bylaws and what projects we really want to focus on, and community-based organizations that we would like to partner with as well. Gosh, let's see. I really think that's all I have, other than everybody have a wonderful holiday and be safe in your travels. And I hope there's a plane you can catch.
Thank you, everyone. Some of you mentioned some things that were on my mind too. When we have meetings, I also attended the State of the County, and the focus there was how well the county commissioners are working with each other, that they get along with each other, respect one another. They don't always agree, but it's a good working relationship. And I think it goes to one of the items that Administrator Betts had on her list about a way to kill the community is to not be collaborative. Then the way to really help a community and to benefit a region is to be collaborative with partners. I know when we had one of our joint meetings with the school board, they brought Ben Bowman, who is a elected representative to the Oregon legislature, but also works on a contract with the Gladstone School District to help them in partnerships with the community, because programs like the food pantry and other things that the school district does come about because we partner with one another. And when we get together in C4 and celebrate the economic development success and local transportation success and housing success of a community like Canby, it's one of those ways that we feel in partnership with each other. We're not competing with each other. We're celebrating those successes because we know we can learn from them and grow as a community when we see our neighbors doing well. We are envious sometimes and jealous sometimes, but I think it inspires us to do better as a city. I also I'm celebrating that new library and the park. It's my grandson's favorite park to go to, so we've been there many times already. And they make new friends and get their feet dirty every time they go. Ben always takes his shoes off. So but it's a great design, and I think it's being well received by the community. I feel like it's a partner with us in Gladstone. Last meeting, we had a discussion about the paved loop trail and the proposed bird watching facility at the Gladstone Nature Park. And Councilor Labonte, who isn't here tonight, had a little bit of trouble with an issue about that, because he said, you know, if it's a nature park and then we're doing all this development, that sort of, those ideas don't quite go together. It made him a little bit uncomfortable. And it was one of those issues where we didn't have 100% approval for it. But it occurs to me that the rare occasions that happens at this council is when we find that there are goals that we have really affirmed as a community, that we want to do all of them, and yet occasionally they come into a little bit of conflict with each other. So we want to be a welcoming and inclusive place where everyone feels they belong. And what better way to do that than to have trails that enable people who have different abilities to be able to enjoy a park, or a bird watching, experiencing area that is built with a sensitivity to people who may not have the same sense of hearing or sight that most of us do. So that goal sometimes seems to come in conflict with a goal of making a park that preserves the natural setting and is, completely unintruded by human things. But we're trying to accomplish both goals at the same time. So when we do both, it's maybe with a little bit of struggle, but it's because we have identified and agreed upon some real positive goals for this community. So our economic development work, our infrastructure work, they all complement one another and work together. And now and then there will be something about one that will seem to be a little bit contradictory to the other. But I'm glad that we have found ways to resolve those conflicts and to really move forward with the goals that we've set for a council. Councilor Corbett, you have one more meeting with us after this. We have appreciated your involvement here. We had an election this past week, and we have a new city councilor who will be joining us to take your seat in January. And I hope that we will continue to really work together as a team. That's something we wanted to do right from the start. We developed a team agreement about how we work together, not just as a council, but with our staff. And I see us continuing to do that in very effective and positive ways. And the support that we have for one another, the support we find through professional organizations and conferences of cities and counties and other and local groups really strengthens us. And I'm really glad to be a part of a city that takes advantage of all those things. So our upcoming meeting date, our next regular meeting is December 9th, I don't think, and we have our city council planning document is always a part of our packet to look ahead. That's one of the great things I think we've started doing at C4 is planning ahead our agenda to cover all the goals that we have as a C4 community, the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee of all the cities. And we want that to be well planned so that we don't miss out anything. The way Administrator Betts always makes sure that all the things that we have on our agenda get on an agenda for a meeting and get accomplished timely and effectively. So would someone like to make a motion to adjourn? You may ask me a question.
Do you know the date that the boards, committees, and commissions applications have to be in by?
I believe it was like December the 2nd.
December 2nd.
Okay.
There's still time to apply for boards.
That's right.
And commission.
We put that out in the city newsletter. We may have added one more position recently. I think we updated that on the city web page. So if you would like to help with, I think just about every committee and commission in the city has some openings. That's another way for citizens to be involved with this great working council. Okay. Motion to adjourn. Anybody?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. Moved by Councilor Huckabee and seconded by Councilor Blau. Tammy, call the roll, please.
Counselor Huckabee.
Yes.
Counselor Mitchell.
Yes.
Counselor Blau.
Yes.
Counselor Corbett.
Yes.
Counselor Garlington.
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, we are adjourned at 7:56 p.m.